Good evening. After weeks of intense speculation about his political future, US President Joe Biden has announced that he's abandoning his re-election bid. The Democratic leader now endorsing his Vice President Kamala Harris to be the party's next presidential nominee. It follows growing pressure on Mr Biden to step aside after his poor performance in a debate with Republican nominee Donald Trump last month. Still, the timing took many by surprise, including senior aides. Tonight we'll have extensive coverage of the latest US presidential twist and its impact just months out from the election. First though, Nick Wells explains how President Biden came to this stunning decision.
The last time Joe Biden was seen in public, carefully descending the steps of Air Force One before going into COVID isolation. He may have been out of sight, but still the president was defiant, rebuking those calling for him to stand aside. As late as Saturday night, he was telling supporters he would soon be back on the campaign trail. But in the early afternoon, Mr Biden gathered senior aides to tell them he'd changed his mind. Moments later came his statement on social media, addressed to my fellow Americans. While it has been my intention to seek re-election, I believe it is in the best interest of my party and the country for me to stand down and to focus solely on fulfilling my duties as president for the remainder of my term, he wrote. Not long after came a second message endorsing his vice president. My very first decision as the party nominee in 2020 was to pick Kamala Harris as my vice president, he wrote, and it's been the best decision I've made. It didn't take long for Donald Trump to go on the attack. Crooked Joe Biden was not fit to run for president and is certainly not fit to serve, he wrote on his Truth Social platform. The Speaker of the House demanded that Mr Biden resign. If Joe Biden is not fit to run for president, he said, he is not fit to serve as president. He must resign the office immediately. In a statement, Kamala Harris thanked Mr Biden for his decades of service, hailing his decision as a selfless and patriotic act. The announcement, though, took many by surprise.
I'm emotional because I am still riding with Biden. I still support my president. And we will get through this, my friends, as we always do.
For more than 3 weeks, Mr Biden had stood firm, even as concerns over his fitness for office grew.
I am running and going to win again. I am all in. And I'm not going anywhere.
But in recent days, he faced mounting pressure.
I think Biden reached the point where the crescendo of bad polls, the money was starting to dry up, all these elected officials were urging him not to run, where he just sat down, thought about it, and he actually did put the country above his own political prospects.
Mr Biden's departure now leaves 78-year-old Donald Trump as the oldest nominee to run for president, a point not lost on residents of Joe Biden's hometown.
I think it was a smart move and a smart decision on his part to step aside and kind of let somebody a little bit younger, more vigorous, go up against somebody like Donald Trump.
The Trump campaign responded immediately, aiming their attacks at the vice president.
Kamala was in on it. She covered up Joe's obvious mental decline.
Tonight, Democrats are rallying behind Ms Harris, conscious that with just over 100 days to go, time is running out to get their campaign back on track. Nick Wells, SBS World News.